to call to mind Churchill's wise words. No one pretends that democracy is perfect or all-wise. Indeed, it has been said that democracy is the worst form of government except for all those other forms that have been tried from time to time. We all know what's wrong with our elections. Negative campaigning, oversimplification of complex issues, too much money, too many political consultants chasing after image rather than substance, too long, too boring, and a lot more. Yet somehow the system works. It has given America the leadership it needs in times of trouble and leadership it deserves in calmer periods, both Republican and Democratic. In spite of all the ads and the smoke screens laid by candidates to obscure the issues, election campaigns do inform the public, and their results do reflect the preferences of the electorate. Almost 2 decades of anti-government rhetoric still retains its force among voters, even as they reject attempts to decimate government. So we're about to enter 1997 as we entered 1996, with the Democrat in the White House and Republicans controlling the Congress. Divided government brought conflict and policy gridlock for much of the past 10 years. And I ask, is that the formula for the next 4 years? I am hopeful that it will not be. The 1996 election confirmed the truism that America is a centrist nation. The success of Clinton's second term, therefore, depends on whether both parties rise above partisanship and pursue a centrist agenda. Is that possible? It is an open question because of the strength of the Republican Party's right wing and its take-no-prisoners stance. The once strong, moderate wing of the Republican Party is now anorexic, and the all-powerful right wing seems wedded to a hardline agenda that includes hounding the administration with investigations and unproved allegations. Our world leadership responsibilities will depend on a more enlightened bipartisan stance. The Republican Party needs to recover its heritage of enlightened internationalism, and in a world full of diffuse but nonetheless perilous threats, Democrats must realize, as does the President, I believe, that our first line of defense is a strong defense. It is also clear in this post-Cold War era that America must form new partnerships with our allies around the world, not only to ensure the safety of our own borders, but to honor our commitments and protect our interests wherever they are threatened. As the world's last remaining superpower, America has an obligation, I believe, to lend its bipartisan support to international organizations like the UN, the IMF, and the World Bank. And we should do this not out of idealism or weakness, but in our own cold, hard, enlightened self-interest. Simply put, by working through organizations like the UN and other coalitions, we share both the risk and burdens of world leadership, and that is good for America. Finally, America can no longer cling to the illusion that the war for equal opportunity, justice, and fairness has been won. It has not. After a very good start, Americans grew weary of the struggle and have put it on the back burner. But as Rodney King and St. Petersburg and Texaco have shown us, If you don't mind the stove, the house may burn down. W.B. Du Bois said at the beginning of the 20th century that the great problem facing America would be the color line. And I say, as the 20th century draws to a close, the great problem facing America as we enter the new century is still the color line. The most urgent task ahead, therefore, is to resume and win the war against racial inequity. Many black Americans have made extraordinary progress over the past 2 years, but black Americans are not even within hailing distance of equality. A fledgling black middle class still faces ceilings on its aspirations and daily indignities that corrode the spirit. A large black poverty class is chained to inferior schools, substandard housing, chronic unemployment, and a dangerous ghetto environment. The promise of the civil rights movement has not been fulfilled, leaving a perilous mix of cynicism, alienation, and despair. The black-white divide must be bridged for moral, constitutional, and economic reasons. Failure will damage our democratic fabric and weaken our competitive prospects in a diverse world.
For decades, you have been involved with the major issues of our times: civil rights, education, and employment. What do you think our children and grandchildren will experience in these areas over the next generation? Are we growing together or further apart as a nation?
I guess sometimes I think that depends upon the day of the week and what has happened, the events that as I move around companies and I see people who historically have never been talking, having baby showers and going to lunch together, I think that we are a very long way. And when our kids get married and their friends, their classmates, they're white, Hispanic, European, come around, that is very exciting. And so I think it's better. And I think it's better than people want to give credit for. And I think that isolated incidents are often blown out of proportion in terms of what happens in any given time. So I'm a big optimist about the possibilities of this great nation. If I've had any one instructive experience, is that as I moved around the world, everywhere I go, whether it's China, Taiwan, or Korea, or Africa, or Russia, everybody wants to be like America. And so we've got something good to export here. And I think we ought to continue to export it: democracy and free markets and freedom and independence. And I think that despite all of the problems that we got and that we are confronted with, I believe they can be solved. And I think if I did not believe that, I would be out on the street with a gun, not here at the Economic Club, trying to talk sense. I would be out there talking nonsense or acting crazy. And so I think that this is a great country with enormous possibilities, and I think we have to believe that, and I think we have to put all our energies working toward it. I've certainly enjoyed being here tonight. Happy holidays.